Hey guys, Sam here with Batch Stoves, and today I'm out in the shop with the H35 hybrid remote. This remote's very lightweight, weighs 22 grams. It is a remote fueled stove, and this stove is not for the beginner remote stove user. You really need to be an experienced user with this stove. It's good for baking, boiling, simmering. And yesterday I did some jalapeno cornbread, and today I thought I'd take an opportunity and just do a boil test just to see where we're at. I know it's not going to be a super fast stove. It's probably going to be around the 10-12 minute mark. I've got my, let's go ahead and get this flipped over. I've got my I want to lay flat. There we go. I've got the remote. The nipple is just slightly even or just slightly above the nipple on the stove. And we'll let that go until we can get the wick saturated. I've got my 12 centimeter cook pot and 20 ounces of melted snow straight from the North Pole, in keeping with the holiday spirit. Now normally I do 16 ounces, but these 20 ounce bottles it's already pre-measured. It's really easy to use. So I've just been doing that here lately. It's about 67 degrees in here, and we'll see what the water temp is. Okay. Go ahead and get this stove lit. And the simmer ring is made just from the portion of the bottle that I cut off, and I just cut a disc out and then spin it and bore a hole in it. So that works out well. It's going to take a minute for the stove to heat up, but we'll go ahead and put the pot on, and we'll get a windscreen around there. Now the windscreen in my situation is used to help heat the stove. Of course, we don't have any wind in here, and this will aid in the boil time. Make sure we can get a view of everything. Let's get a timer started. Now I know that this time's not going to be super accurate, but this is a long process anyways. This stove is not super quick, so I don't think it really matters that much. This is just an idea and a reference just to see how long it takes for the stove to actually boil water. It's going to take probably, like I said, 10 to 12 minutes. We will probably not film the whole thing. We'll probably cut back after it gets close to being closer to boil. Stove is going in there, and it'll heat up here pretty shortly, and we'll get going. Yeah, I came out with the stove back in the middle of summer, sometime around summertime, and I was actually selling them quicker than I could make them, and I kind of got behind, and then summertime came and vacation with the family, so I didn't really have time to do a lot of boil tests or cooking with this stove. And I figured, well, when the winter gets here, I'll have plenty of time to do that. And then, of course, with the holidays, but hopefully now I'll have an opportunity to do some dry baking and stuff, and test the stove along with my updated BS 1.1. I'm going to try to get a series of videos out on this stove as well. As you know, this is my go-to favorite all-around stove. It's very user-friendly, and Works really well for boiling, baking, and simmering. So stay tuned for some videos coming up on that. And we'll a couple minutes in right now. We'll come back and check on it when the water temp gets closer. We're at 82 degrees now, and we'll come back in about 8 minutes or so. Okay, we're about 9.5 minutes in, and our temperature's up to 194, so we shouldn't have too much longer now. Maybe a minute or two. We're up to 204. 206. So we'll wait, and we're at 10 minutes, 10:30 and 10:40, and we're boiling, 212, 10:45 or so, we're boiling. So that's about right where I was thinking, around 10 to 12 minutes probably, I was figuring. So that's good. You can see having the windscreen around there, you can see what it does with the flame. It helps keep that heat in there, and the thermal feedback from the pot helps heat the stove. Gets it really a lot hotter than you normally would. And our remote, we've used probably about 1/2 ounce or so. This is a 1 ounce fuel bottle. And we're going to push it down all the way. Let's take this off, and we can do simmer mode. Blow the stove out. And then let it go off for a few seconds. And then put the simmer cap on. You don't have to press this down, just kind of stick it on. If you press it down, it won't be hard to get off. So, light it, put the pot back on, and then we can just simmer. See what type of flame we got now. Just a light flame, just to keep the water hot and simmer. And we can leave the windscreen off. Just going to leave it back here so you can kind of see the flame. If the flame starts to die down too much, we can put the windscreen around it, like so. Help retain some of that heat in there. There's no need to give it more fuel. This is a very fuel efficient stove, and from my experience, stoves that tend to take longer to boil water are usually your more fuel efficient stoves. And it does well with the dry baking and stuff. So now we can just simmer. And I imagine this stove, we're about 1/2 ounce of fuel in, and we're 15 minutes in, and I imagine this stove's going to go for probably at least 30 minutes. And I think I'll just I'll let it run. We'll turn the camera off, I'll let it run, and I'll come back when it gets closer to... Okay guys, we're 25 minutes in, and we still got a little fuel left, probably about an eighth of a bottle there. So and we're still at 197 on the temp, and I wanted to show you what the flame looks like. This is a good simmer temp on the stove. You can see the flame. It's not too big. It's just real small, hitting the bottom of the pot. And of course you can regulate this temp by opening and closing the windscreen. If you keep it closed, it'll build up heat and the temp will go up. And if you need to, you can, if it's getting too hot, you can open it up like this and let it cool off a little bit. And this is good temp for soups, good temp for rice, anything you need to simmer, and also for dry baking. See, we're about 28 minutes in, and we've got plenty of fuel left. I have no doubt that we're going to get to probably about the 40-minute mark, 35-40 minute mark. So my battery's about to die on the camera.